Now on Up North Live News at 6.
Calling our first case, the people of the state of Michigan versus Emily Tomaszewski.
A Manistee teacher in court today facing a charge of child abuse 4th degree. How she pled. More calls for transparency at the local Development Finance Authority in Cadillac today. What people want to know about the growing PFAS problem. Plus, Northern Michigan hospital executives worried about possible cuts in Medicaid funding. The message they're sending today.
Yes, we like maple syrup. It's a great sweetener, and it's so just good.
And our Exploring Michigan has some great places you can visit over the next month if you love maple syrup.
This is Up North Live News at 6 on 7 and 4.
A former Manistee school teacher arraigned today on charges of child abuse. Emily Tomaszewski is accused of assaulting a student. Our Allie Baxter was in the courtroom this morning. She joins us now live from the Content Center. Allie, do we know what happened yet?
Mark, all we know is what the Manistee County Sheriff's Office has shared. We know detectives started investigating in early January when a child told their parents they were assaulted by their teacher.
Calling our first case, the people of the state of Michigan versus Emily Tomaszewski.
In 85th District Court Wednesday, 34-year-old Emily Tomaszewski appeared with her attorney.
Mr. Iorio, how does your client plead to the charge?
Not guilty.
Tomaszewski was arraigned on 4th-degree child abuse charges. The judge shared that the allegations listed in the complaint against Tomaszewski spanned several months, from September 25th to December 9th, 2024.
This charge alleges more specifically that you, Emily Elizabeth Tomaszewski, did knowingly or intentionally commit the following act or acts that under the circumstances posed an unreasonable risk of harm or physical injury to a child by using physical/assaultive discipline beyond that which is reasonable or permitted by law.
According to the Sheriff's Office, they have video of at least one incident where Tomaszewski is accused of assaulting her student.
She's lived in Manistee for 8 years, and she has no criminal record. She poses no threat whatsoever to the public.
Given the nature of the case, I think saying that she actually presents no danger to the public is a little bit of a stretch.
A few blocks from the courthouse is Jefferson Elementary School. It's where Tomaszewski taught. Tomaszewski was first placed on administrative leave during the investigation. She later resigned. In a statement shared with families, Manistee Area Public School Superintendent Ron Stoneman said, quote, "Our top priority is and will continue to be the safety and well-being of our students." Now, also in that letter, the superintendent encourages families to come forward if they have any information. If convicted, Tomaszewski could face up to 1 year in jail or probation for 5 years. Live in the Content Center, Allie Baxter, back to you.
Members of the local Development Finance Authority in Cadillac say they are working to recover decades of missing meeting minutes and other documentation. Residents have voiced concerns that not keeping proper records is a direct violation of the Open Meetings Act and that the PFAS issue the city is dealing with would have gotten out to the public much sooner. At a meeting held this morning, the board addressed some of those concerns, saying they are working to add past minute meetings to the LDFA website. Some of those at today's meeting wanted to know how often the LDFA meets and if members held public informational meetings that they say is required by law.
I looked, and I cannot find any documentation of any informational meetings. There's no minutes, there's nothing. So, you know, there's a couple issues there. Obviously, there's some what I would call misinformation on your webpage. There's also some potential violations of Act 57, 2018.
The informational meetings as required by Act were actually a part of the actual regular meeting agendas. I couldn't tell you as I'm sitting here today which meetings over the years those informational meetings were actually on.
The LDFA says right now its main priority is finding as many of the 387 missing minutes so they can make them public.
Well, during their meeting last night, Boyne City Commissioners held their annual evaluation of City Manager Michael Kane. Then that resulted in his contract being terminated. Mayor Tim Nemechek said in a statement that Kane's overall performance was rated at 2.57 out of 5. Commissioners then made a motion to terminate Kane's contract, and that was passed with a 5-0 vote. Mayor Nemechek says the commissioners have not determined when this will take effect, but that they will consult with the city attorney during this transition. Nemechek says the meeting scheduled for March 13th, 19th, and May 17th will still be held as planned.
As Congress continues to work on the federal budget, local hospitals want people to know that there might be serious cuts to Medicaid. UpNorthLive's Daniel Zivian spoke with executives at Munson and McLaren, as well as an elder law attorney who is wondering how she will help her clients.
Is that something that there's any serious momentum towards?
Yeah, I would say the momentum is very serious.
The House Energy and Commerce Committee has a daunting task under the new budget to find at least $880 billion in spending cuts.
It's virtually impossible to get to that $880 billion target number without making cuts to Medicaid.
Munson President Ed Ness says this would have a disproportionate effect on rural health care. His data says 75,000 northern Michiganders are on the program.
46% of the deliveries that our community hospitals deliver are moms and babies on Medicaid. And you take a look at a community, in some of our communities, it's over 50%. So that's 50% of our deliveries that would be directly impacted by this and those families.
Michigan health professionals were in Washington just last week, meeting with the state's delegation, including Representative Jack Bergman.
We offered ourselves up as a resource as they are continuing to evaluate options. I think the process is going to be sort of if this, then that. And they are looking to us, and we want to be that resource to tell them what those true impacts will be on the citizens of Michigan and our patients and the healthcare in Michigan. And I think they were receptive to that. So we always appreciate that from our delegation.
Petoskey attorney Terry Weingarten specializes in Medicaid applications, helping families with getting insured in nursing homes or with in-home care. Weingarten says she worries more people will be forced into nursing homes and that the expenses will only go up.
When the spouses come in, they're terrified they're going bankrupt. First question they ask is, do I have to divorce my spouse? And they're shaking. And I reassure them at this point that I can get them on Medicaid and they're not going to go broke. I don't know that I can say that.
In Petoskey, I'm Daniel Zivian reporting.
Well, to Lansing now, where state Democrats say they're trying to tamp down rising costs, particularly for parents. They're proposing a working parents tax credit to help families deal with lingering supply chain issues and stubborn inflation that's pushed things like the cost of diapers or childcare much higher over the years. The credit's $5,500 for families with kids under the age of 3.
When families can't afford the basics, businesses have fewer customers. That cuts into their profits, making them less likely to invest and hire, which means fewer jobs here in Michigan. And that brings our entire economy down.
When babies are born into and grow up in poverty, it is a pathogen. It makes kids sick. It impacts their entire life course. It impacts their potential. Yet we don't have to do that anymore. And we're not doing that anymore.
Senators say the credit would be easy to earn and easy to apply for and could serve hundreds of thousands of households statewide.
The press conference coincides with a major announcement on education from the governor's office. Appearing at an early childhood center downstate in Livonia, handing out books and hugs, Governor Whitmer now says enrollment in the state's free pre-K for all program has now surpassed 47,000 kids. That's the highest it's been, she says, in a decade. Free pre-K debuted last year. Whitmer's office says prior to its launch, only around 41% of 4-year-olds were enrolled in pre-K. They estimate the program significantly changed that and is saving families around $10,000 a year in early childhood education costs.
The Osable River Queen has sunk to the bottom of the river. Charter Township in Oscoda says the site on the river road has been declared off limits to the general public while remedies are underway. Several organizations, including Township First Responders and Eagle, are working to oversee the site. Sumner Moore visited what's left of the River Queen and shows us how what was once a tourism hotspot is now sitting beneath some chilly water.
It's a sad day. The Queen is down. A lot of good times on it, but I don't know what's going to happen now.
The Osable River Queen has fallen to her knees.
Most of the people around here know about the River Queen, love it. Me and my wife We have a duo twice shy. We played here about 5-6 years on the boat. Lovely cruise, goes out 9 miles back. I don't know, it's sad.
According to a recent Facebook post, the boat's owner said it started sinking at around 8:30 Tuesday night.
This is one of the things that Oscoda has that makes it special. And so many people went for a cruise on it. People from down below would get excited and go, oh, we get to go on the River Queen and go around the Au Sable. If you never had a chance to go on it, it was really, like I say, it was really special, especially for this area. It would go out throughout the summer, 2-hour cruise, had entertainment, beverages, snacks.
In addition to being a unique experience, the River Queen was one of a kind in more than just one way.
The propulsion is just the paddle wheels on the back, that's it. So you'd hear it go thumping across the pond. It's not going to be easy to get her out of there, but hopefully they can get it out and salvage it and maybe pull it on land and make a restaurant out of it.
Pulling the boat out of the water presents more challenges than just one, as the timeline for cleanup is unclear. Iosco County Sheriff's Office and Oscoda fire officials say there's been discussion about mitigating possible hazardous materials in the water. Additionally, the ice could be thin, so officials are asking the public to view from afar. They have since roped off the area.
This is going to make a lot of people sad. She's been a good old girl, but
Reporting in Iosco County, I'm Sumner Moorer.
And a reminder for latest look at news, sports, and weather, you can go to our website, UpNorthLive.com. The sap is flowing. Soon the syrup will be boiling. In tonight's Explorer Michigan, we're taking you to a popular Northern Michigan sugar shack for a look at what's expected to be a busy month. That's next on Up North Live News at 6.
And we're warming up. It's going to feel like spring, especially by the end of the week. I'll look at that. And when we may get a little more snow, too. All that after the break.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.